Why do men fall the hardest for the women who let them go? It's not about games, manipulation, or playing hard to get. It's about something far deeper: self-worth. A woman who knows her value doesn't cling. She walks with grace. She doesn't chase love, she attracts it. Men don't fall for the woman who pleads to be kept. They fall for the woman who says, "I deserve better," and means it. They remember the one who walked away with her head held high, not the one who begged to stay, because in letting go, she doesn't lose power, she reclaims it. And that, my friends, is a force no man can resist. Would you like me to expand this into a full speech? A woman who values herself teaches others how to treat her. She understands that love is not about convincing someone to stay, but about choosing someone who sees her worth without question. She doesn't settle for half-hearted affection, empty promises, or inconsistency. Instead, she walks away from anything that doesn't honor her, and in doing so, she commands respect in a way that words never could. When a woman knows her value, she radiates a kind of confidence that is undeniable. She doesn't seek validation from a man because she already validates herself. She doesn't stay in situations that diminish her light because she understands that her presence is a gift, not a given. She holds herself to a higher standard, and that standard demands that she never beg for love. If a man cannot rise to meet her at that level, she will not lower herself to accommodate him. There is an undeniable magnetism in a woman who stands firm in her self-worth. She doesn't play hard to get, she simply is. She knows that her energy, her time, and her love are precious, and she will not waste them on someone who cannot appreciate them. She does not chase because she understands that anything she has to chase is not truly meant for her. A woman like this does not demand respect. She inspires it effortlessly. Men notice this. They feel it. A woman who prioritizes herself, who refuses to settle for less than what she deserves, becomes unforgettable. She leaves an imprint not by trying to hold on, but by knowing when to let go. And in the process, something fascinating happens. She becomes the one he cannot stop thinking about. A man may not always realize a woman's worth when she is available to him, but the moment she removes herself from the equation, he sees what he has lost. He sees the space she filled, the peace she brought, the love she gave so freely, and it is in that absence that her value becomes undeniable. Because a woman who walks away doesn't just leave, she leaves behind a standard that no one else can easily match. There is an undeniable allure in a woman who carries an air of mystery, a quiet confidence that doesn't beg for attention but effortlessly draws people in. She is not easily available, not because she's playing games, but because she values herself enough to live a life that is full and fulfilling on its own. She does not depend on anyone to complete her, nor does she seek validation through constant reassurance. Instead, she remains centered in her own energy, moving through life with purpose, passion, and grace. Men are naturally drawn to what they do not fully understand, to what feels just out of reach. A woman who is too available, too predictable, or too eager to please can sometimes unknowingly diminish the very essence that makes her intriguing. But a woman who embraces her independence, who keeps parts of herself sacred, ignites curiosity. She does not feel the need to over-explain her actions or lay everything out on the table at once. Instead, she allows herself to be revealed in layers, each one adding depth to her presence. There is a difference between being open and being overly accessible. A woman with strong self-worth knows this well. She does not overshare in hopes of gaining approval. She does not rush into love, throwing herself fully into someone else's world while abandoning her own. Instead, she moves with intention, allowing relationships to unfold naturally. She understands that the right man will be drawn to her not because she chases him, but because she leaves enough space for him to be intrigued by her. This kind of woman commands attention without ever having to demand it. She speaks not only with her words, but with her presence. She can be warm, kind, and loving, but she is never desperate for connection. She remains a woman with her own life, her own dreams, and her own identity beyond any romantic relationship. Men find themselves thinking about her long after she has left the room, wondering what it is about her that feels different. It's not about playing mind games, it's about embodying a quiet strength that makes her stand out. She does not chase, yet she is chased. She does not beg, yet she is desired. And that is the power of a woman who understands the magic of her own mystery. There is an incredible strength in the ability to let go with grace, in choosing yourself over someone who does not see your worth. A woman who understands this doesn't beg for love, she doesn't plead for attention, and she certainly doesn't lower her standards just to keep someone in her life. She knows that real power comes from knowing when to walk away, from understanding that her presence is not a privilege she has. To convince anyone to appreciate it is a gift that must be earned. Detachment does not mean a lack of love or care. It means refusing to cling to something that no longer serves you. It means recognizing when a situation is draining your energy rather than uplifting it. A woman who practices detachment doesn't hold on to relationships that are inconsistent, uncertain, or unfulfilling. Instead, she trusts that by letting go, she is making space for something better, for someone who will meet her where she is without hesitation. There is nothing more attractive than a woman who knows she will be perfectly fine with or without a man. She does not break down at the thought of walking away from someone who cannot meet her needs, because she knows that her happiness is not dependent on anyone else. She understands that love should be a choice, not an obligation, and certainly not something she has to beg for. A woman who embraces detachment carries herself differently. She radiates a calm confidence, a certainty that she is in control of her own life. She does not react impulsively or emotionally to situations that try to shake her. Instead, she steps back, evaluates, and makes decisions from a place of self-respect. She refuses to let fear dictate her actions, and she never compromises her worth for temporary affection. Men notice this. They feel the difference between a woman who desperately clings and a woman who is strong enough to let go. It is the latter who leaves a lasting impression. She does not play mind games or manipulate, simply refuses to stay where she is not valued. And when she walks away with her head held high, she doesn't just leave behind memory, as she leaves behind a lesson. Men are wired to chase what they feel is slipping away. It is an instinct rooted deep within them, the thrill of pursuit, the need to prove their worth, the desire to win over something valuable. A woman who understands this does not play games, but she also does not make herself too easily accessible. She knows that love should be mutual, but she also understands that when she steps back, it triggers something powerful in a man, the realization that he could lose her. When a woman is always available, always accommodating, and always willing to go the extra mile for a man who does not match her effort, she unintentionally removes the very challenge that excites him. Men do not fall for what comes too easily. They fall for what feels earned. They respect what they had to work for, what they had to prove themselves worthy of. A woman who steps back, who refuses to be taken for granted, awakens that natural instinct in a man, the need to chase, to pursue, to win her over. This is not about manipulation, it is about self-respect. A woman who values herself does not overextend to keep a man's attention. She does not beg, plead, or settle for breadcrumbs. Instead, she gracefully removes herself from any situation where she is not cherished, and in doing so, she forces a man to confront his own feelings. He begins to realize what she brought into his life: her warmth, her support, her energy, and once that presence is gone, he starts to feel the weight of that absence. A man who truly cares will step up when he sees a woman distancing herself. He will recognize that she is not someone he can take for granted. He will put in the effort, not because he has to, but because he wants to, because the fear of losing her is greater than his pride, and the idea of life without her is something he is unwilling to accept. When a woman understands her worth, she does not chase love. She does not lower her standards to accommodate someone who is unsure about her. She knows that the right man will not need to be convinced. He will recognize her value and do what it takes to keep her. And if he doesn't, she will walk away, knowing that the man who is meant for her will always find his way to her without hesitation. A woman who truly knows her worth does not beg to be chosen. She does the choosing. She understands that love is not about convincing someone to see her value. It is about aligning with someone who already does. She carries herself with the confidence of a queen, knowing that the right man will recognize her worth without her having to prove it. She does not settle for half-hearted love or inconsistent effort because she knows she deserves more. And when she walks away from anything less than what she deserves, she becomes unforgettable. There is a distinct difference between a woman who waits to be loved and a woman who chooses love on her own terms. The former places her happiness in someone else's hands, hoping to be picked, validated, and reassured. The latter understands that she is already complete and that love should add to her life, not define it. She does not chase, she does not plead, and she does not tolerate anything that makes her feel less than what she is, a woman of high value, strength, and grace. Men feel this energy deeply. They know when a woman is content within herself, when she is not seeking someone to fill a void, but rather someone who can meet her at her level. A woman who chooses herself first sets a standard that cannot be ignored. She does not stay in situations where she is treated as an option because she knows she is a priority. She does not wait for a man to decide if he wants her. Instead, she decides if he is worthy of her time and love. This kind of woman leaves an imprint long after she is gone. She does not just walk away. She leaves behind a sense of what real confidence, real self-respect, and real love should look like. A man who has experienced her presence knows that he cannot find that kind of energy just anywhere. She is not easily replaced because she is not like the rest. She is a woman who knows what she brings to the table, and she is not afraid to eat alone if necessary. Men do not forget a woman like this. They may not always realize her worth when they have her, but the moment she steps away, they feel the shift. They see the void she leaves behind. And in that moment, they understand that losing a woman like her is not just losing love, it is losing the rarest kind of love there is. When a woman knows her worth, she moves differently. She does not chase, she does not beg, and she does not compromise her value for the sake of keeping someone in her life. She understands that love is not about possession, but about mutual respect and effort. And when she walks away from anything that does not honor her, she becomes the one who is impossible to forget. Men do not fall hardest for the woman who pleads to be kept. They fall for the one who is strong enough to let go. They are drawn to the mystery of a woman who does not make herself too available, to the quiet confidence of someone who knows she will be perfectly fine on her own. When she removes herself from a situation where she is not valued, she forces a man to see what he has lost. And in that space, he realizes the depth of her presence, the peace, the passion, the energy she brought into his life. The truth is, a woman who respects herself teaches others how to treat her. When she refuses to settle, she sets a standard that cannot be ignored. The right man will not need to be convinced to stay. He will step up because he knows she is the kind of woman he cannot afford to lose. And if he doesn't, she walks away with grace, knowing that she is not losing anything. Instead, she is making space for the love that was always meant for her. Because a queen does not beg to be chosen, she does the choosing.